Question number 6 asks me to consider a series of graphs. They're listed in the first column, and then I need to identify whether these graphs have a positive slope, a negative slope, an undefined slope, or a zero slope. I'll talk a little bit more about the undefined and zero slopes. For the positive and negative slopes, we need to just be able to glance at these and tell that they are positive or negative. We read these graphs in the same way we would read a book, from left to right. If my slope is going up from a left to right direction, then it's positive. Nothing else to see here. I could prove that by drawing a couple points from it. I'm not going to do that for the purposes of this video. Just know that if it's going up from left to right, it's positive. Now, let's take a look at a horizontal line. What's the slope of a horizontal line? This is something you might want to memorize, but in case you don't, let me show you how to calculate it. I grab 2 points off of this line, 0, 3, and 5, 3. Now, remember, I can always calculate the slope if I have 2 points on a line by using my slope formula. M is my slope, and the slope formula is the difference in my y's over the difference in my x's. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So I'm going to label my points. Once I've labeled my points, I'm going to go ahead and plug them into this formula. So for y2, I'll write a 3, a minus sign, and then I'll write a 3 for y1. I'll do the same thing with my x's. Notice I'm putting each value in parentheses. That's so that I don't lose track of a negative sign. It's a very important thing to do. When I finish this, I get 0 divided by 5. 0 divided by 5 is 0. That means this is a 0 slope. A horizontal line is a slope of 0. If I have a line that's moving down from left to right, that's a negative slope. Again, I'm reading these from left to right. In this case, my slope would be negative. Moving on to a vertical line. So a horizontal line is always going to be a y equals equation. A vertical line is always going to be an x equals equation. I'm going to grab 2 points off of this line, and I'm going to put them into my slope formula so that even if I forget which one is which, horizontal or vertical, I can calculate it and remind myself. In this case, I take the points 3, 0 and 3, 5. I remind myself that my slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I will take the time to label these points so that I can plug them into the formula. If you do this in your head, you're likely to get it wrong. Just saying. 5 minus 0 on the top, on the bottom, 3 minus 3. When I do the math, I get 5 over 0. I cannot divide by a 0. Mathematically, it is not possible to do. As a result, the slope of this line isn't a 0. It's something that cannot be defined. So I would say that it is undefined. And so in this case, it's undefined for any x equals equation. If I have an equation that is an x equals equation or a vertical line, all vertical lines are x equals equations. Any x equals equation will be a vertical line. And my slope will be undefined for any of those particular problems. I'll then go into Edge Elastic. You'll notice I've dropped a few of these already in to the various boxes. Positive slope goes into the first box, 0 slope into the next, and so on and so forth. If you're doing this on an iPad, you may have some trouble where your drag and drop box doesn't go down with you as you're scrolling. If so, let me know that on the day of the test. I can help with it. On computer, it works just fine. You'll be able to click and drag those into the appropriate box. Again, if you ever have problems with the Edge Elastic, in the course of the test, you can, of course, come and ask me, and I will help you to input your answer. Question 7. question number 7 gives us a table, and it asks us to determine the slope of this line given a table of values. The important thing to note about a table of values, whether it says x and y or x and f of x, it's just giving me a series of ordered pairs. When x is a 2, y is a 1, that's the ordered pair 2, 1. Same thing for the next one there. 5, 5, that's a point. 8, 9, 11, 13. I just need to select 2 of these points, label them, and put them into my slope formula. In this particular case, I'm going to use the first 2 points to do this. 2, 1 and 5, 5. I will go ahead and I'll label these points. I'm also going to write my slope formula. This will be available to you on the boards on the day of the test, so you won't have to memorize this formula. It'll be provided for you on the STAR test as well. I label my points, x1, y1, x2, y2, and then I'm going to plug them in. I'm not going to try to do this in my head because I'm likely to get it wrong if I do. I put y2 minus y1 is 5 minus 1. x2 minus x1 is 5 minus 2. I do the math. I get 4 over 3. If you're uncertain as to whether 4 over 3 would reduce, you can put it in Desmos. You have a Desmos tool within the Edge Elastic. When you do, it's going to tell you that 4 over 3 is as reduced as it gets. If you happen to be doing this on an iPad, you can always click 4 and then the slash button, and that will make a fraction for you. 4 over 3. Notice it creates a fraction in the Edge Elastic.